Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Donaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, the original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in. It's the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, the strongest signal Ravens affiliate on Delmarva, 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. Welcome into week number 9 of the NFL for your 3-4 Baltimore Ravens. Coming up, we'll briefly recap the 19-16 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk news and notes. We'll take a trip around the AFC North, and we will preview the upcoming game against the Browns. This Sunday, the Ravens are in Cleveland with kickoff against the Browns at 4:25. Pre-game's going to be at 3:55, and this show's airing at 11 a.m. right here on 93.5 The Beach. We want to thank our fine sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, Bud Light, our friends at Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Geico, the Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, the Holiday Inn Express at Northside in Ocean City, also Donaway Furniture. You can visit them for great furniture, Serta mattresses, and rental makeovers located there at 130th Street, Bayside at Ocean City, 410-250-5100, and also buyatoyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. And we want to thank all our sponsors as well. Many of them have giveaways that we give away during the show, so we invite you to come on down to the show every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We also give away Ravens tickets as well, so you need to be here in order to do that. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Ravens Wrap, at the Blue Ox, and coming soon, ravenswrap.com. I'm Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan of Baltimore, also locally on 92.7 WGMD. To my left, editor-in-chief of RussellStreetReport.com, voted Baltimore's best 5 years plus running, Tony Lombardi. Welcome back, sir.
Great to be here, Mike.
To his left, contributor that is, to RussellStreetReport.com. He joined us a few weeks back, did a great job, and he's back with us again. Tom Moore. Tom, welcome back. And taking the place of Bucksy, Steve Slaza. Welcome back.
There's no one anyone could ever do that.
Oh, man. Well, I was talking with Tony before the show, and now I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm going to say I'm about 95% sure. I've been doing this show since 2008. By memory, I believe this is the first time, guys, that we have done this show since 2008 when this team, the Ravens, have been below 500. And if you go back to 2008, we started out the season 2-0. We beat Cincinnati. That was Joe Flacco's debut as a rookie. John Harbaugh, the head coach's debut. And, of course, Ray Rice as well. 3 major calibers to us winning a Super Bowl last year. But then we lose to Pittsburgh. On Monday Night Football, we lose to Tennessee. We get shellacked by Indianapolis. So we're 2-3 going into the Miami game. Fortunately, we won that game because that could have been a big turning point for the team. With a new coach, John Harbaugh, we go 2-4. Who knows how that would have gone and if the players would have continued to have bought into what John Harbaugh was preaching as a rookie head coach. But it turns out we win that game, and we ended up winning 4 straight, so we ended up being 6-3. And, of course, that season ended up being 11-5 and a trip to the AFC Championship game, unfortunately coming up a little short. But, Tony, we're in uncharted territories. Not that there's necessarily room for panic, but we're not used to being here.
3-4. In fact, it's the first time a defending Super Bowl champion has been sub 500 after 7 games. So some daunting statistics. But that said, it's a team that's in transition. It's a team that's getting better, I think, one game at a time. The results don't show up on in the win-loss column, but I think that they're positioned to do well. They do well coming out of the break. John Harbaugh, you mentioned his coaching reign. He hasn't lost after a bye, so hopefully that stays true when they take on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, like you said, at 4:25 on Sunday.
That's right. Tom?
It's tough. I mean, the Ravens are in a position right now where they realistically need to go 7-2. And that means you've got to beat the Bengals at least once. That means you definitely got to win on the road. And, yeah, they're going to have to beat the Patriots at home. So they've got a lot of tough games ahead of them. And let's not forget Chicago on the road, which will be a very tough game, too. So the Ravens have definitely their work cut out for them.
I think it's very painful. When you look at the last 2 losses, I mean, those are 2 games you could have won. You couple the Buffalo game with that, those are 3 games. And you look at your schedule, and in this league, you don't have 3 games that you can throw away, and the last 2 games were especially painful. But they're very good after the bye, so we'll see how they come out this week.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Steve, because when you look at those 3 games, I'm not saying that the defense was at fault for those 3 losses. However, the offense or the team got in a position in each of those games to win, only to have their defense let them down in critical times. So I know a lot of the focus of the Ravens' failures has been on the offensive line and on the offense, but the defense had some breakdowns too along the way.
Yeah.
If you look at that Green Bay game in particular, Green Bay gets the ball back. The Ravens have just scored a touchdown. If they can get one bat away, if they can get one key stop, if they don't take a play off and let the running back just run all over the field, they can probably win that game. And the Green Bay game just eats me up probably the worst of them, because that was one that was a home game, and you got to win your home games.
Well, and I'll say this, and we talked about, Tony, you were on my show in Baltimore over the weekend, and I was saying that Buffalo game, even though they ran for over 150 yards against us, I thought the defense actually kept us in the game and allowed us to win that game. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short. But, I take a look at this in 2 ways. Steve, you bring up the point about we've had some hard losses that at the end of the season we may look back and say, man, if we had this one and this one, we'd be in the playoffs, or maybe we'd be in a better seeding for the playoffs. But I also take a look at it with all the changeover that we've had, with the injury to Dennis Pitta, with the free agents that we've had to bring in, we're starting a rookie free agent at times with Marlon Brown, with the trades, et cetera. All that's going on, basically. The fact that we are 3-4 and not maybe in a worse spot, I know that's maybe glass half full thinking, but the fact that even in the losses, when we played pretty bad, we played very poorly against Buffalo, yet still had a chance to win. I like to think that, okay, at least we've still put ourselves in a position where we can battle back and still possibly make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that we can, and I think the way you have to look at those games, you say it's water under the bridge. You can't get that back. Those 3 losses are 3 losses. It's in the record book. But I think what you can take away from those games, what did we do poorly? What did we do well? How can we build on those things? And I think that's what they do well when they go into a bye under John Harbaugh.
Yeah. And Tom, you take a look in saying 7-2 going forward, although you take a look at the AFC North division, and the Bengals, they're playing very good ball right now, but there's still a lot of football to be played. Who knows, it could end up turning out that maybe 9-7 wins this division with the way everything else is going. We'll see, and that's going to take, you're right, it's going to take a win, maybe 2 over the Bengals, but this division, I think, still is very much up for grabs.
I think the division is up for grabs, not because I think the Bengals are going to lose a bunch of games, but because the Ravens have 2 head-to-head. And if you can win your head-to-head games, that's the key point, because ultimately that's the tiebreaker. How did you do in the head-to-head games if they have the same record? I don't think 9-7 is going to win the division. I would think it would need a catastrophic injury like to Dalton or somebody else in the Bengals for that to happen. But realistically, I think the Ravens can get the 6th seed and contend for the division if they can play well against the Bengals.
Now, I would think in 2 weeks you win the next 2 games. I mean, this is a totally different turnaround. And looking at that, and you've got to feel comfortable with that. But the reality is you're soft in the middle of both lines, and it's not a quick fix. I mean, you look at Haloti Ngata in the last 2 weeks, he's been getting blown off the ball. I mean, knocked 10 yards down the field. You look at the center, and both guards right now are hurt. And, when you're running a zone blocking scheme that features both your guards overloading one side, and they're both hurt. I mean, it's very difficult. But, like you said, they are getting better. And, it's a 1 game at a time season. If they can get to 500, then the next week it's a home game. And we're very good at home. So, we'll have to see.
Well, and of course, we've been very fortunate over the last 5 years. We've had one heck of a run. I mean, 3 AFC championship games, a Super Bowl. We've done very well, and this organization has not, for the most part, as we just talked to, has not been in these kind of situations or been in the situation where they've been below 500. We had the one season, I guess we were 9-7. But other than that, this is a team that's won on a regular basis and has bounced back and usually put themselves in a pretty good spot, albeit though they've had to win some road playoff games. That's maybe been the one issue that they've had. But, it's not easy in this league. I mean, as we know week to week, and especially with the injuries, we battled injuries. At least we don't have guys that are out for the year. But that said, I guess Ravens fans, hey, we've got the bar set high, and anything less than that, Tony, we say rebuilding year, but I don't know that they're buying rebuilding year, though.
No, because that's not how the Ravens have positioned it either.
Right.
And I think when you don't position it that way, even though fans probably would like to think that they probably were trying to rebuild and retool at least, I think when you don't say that to the fans level of expectation is going to be high, and you're coming off a Super Bowl win. And I think we've seen last year, I mean, who in this room could say that the Ravens definitely were the best team in the NFL last year? Probably no one, really. But they won the Super Bowl, so the Super Bowl says that they were. But when you look back at that season, it's just like any other season. We've seen it with the Giants a couple of times. We've seen it with the Steelers before. We've seen it with the Green Bay Packers. We saw it last year with the Ravens. The team that gets themselves in position, can win on the road and get hot at the right time, can take it all. So I think that's what the Ravens have experienced, and I think it's how they're trying to tool their team right now.
Tom, other than last year, it's been the case the Ravens have always finished very strong, especially in December. I think the good news is certainly this team has not anywhere near played their best ball, and hopefully for the young guys or the new guys that they're getting their experience, they're getting more immersed in the offense or defensive schemes, and that hopefully come November, December here, they're playing much better ball in the first half, and that experience early on is going to pay off. And again, 3-4, but still in a position to make the playoffs. Hopefully that's going to pay off in the future.
I don't think they've quit, and that's the most important thing. If you have quit on your coach and you've quit on your team, that's it for the season. But I think they buy in. I think they believe in John Harbaugh. And I think this team, for that reason, especially given the number of league games or division games, I meant to say, that they have left to play, they know that they can do this. But they have to be realistic, too. And that is the 5th seed they're not going to get, because the Chiefs or the Broncos, whoever doesn't win the division is going to get that. So you've got 2 options left. That is, win the division and have a home game in the playoffs, realistically, or you get the 6th seed. And I think they've got to know that going in, so that's what makes these games so important.
I think one thing is they're getting better, and they're starting to get some players back. And I thought Jameel McClain, played incredibly well, having no practice time. Comes out for a couple of days and boom, lines up and has 6 tackles in that game. And having Jacoby Jones, starting to get some guys healthy. And when you look at them, we've had 5 of 7 defensive linemen hurt. We've had 6 out of 7 wide receivers hurt. You've had a lot of guys that are very serious, and both your running backs. I mean, you've had some major injuries that Harbaugh has just sort of glossed over. But having the bye week and whereas you look at the rest of the league, and like Reggie Wayne is out for the year, you're seeing some other contenders lose major key components for the year, whereas we're getting better. And I'm hoping that this 2-game stretch will be like our Pittsburgh and Redskins stretch last year. And I think everybody's hoping that we turn the corner and just build upon this, because this is a team that we knew going in was going to get better as the year progressed, as the defense gelled together.
Yeah, no, it's definitely some good points, and we'll pick up on that. There's a lot to talk about, and recapping the first half, a little of the last game, and looking ahead as well. It is the Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach. We're back next. Give it in.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Come see us at Blue Rock.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.